Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Laura Spear, the Rotary Public Image Coordinator for Zone 32. Unfortunately, my counterpart for Zone 28, Mary Lou Harrison, is not available tonight, but we have assistant public image coordinators from both zones who will be presenting and supporting this webinar. We are recording the session, and the link to the recording will be posted on the Zones 28 and 32 website. A few other notes before we get started. Feel free to ask your questions in the chat. We will monitor them throughout the presentations, and we will address them in a live Q&A session at the end. If you would like to receive a monthly public image update, please put your name, email, and district in the chat, and you will hear more about this in a little while. So let's get started. Lisa,
Hello. Good evening,
you're
everybody.
on.
All right. Greetings from Philadelphia. Happy to be here. I am going to co-present this first section with my friend and colleague Hattie, who is from Western Ottawa. We are going to talk about the Learning Center as well as the Brand Center. So I'll begin with this first slide, if you could please advance it. We're going to look at the Learning Center, which is a resource that is free, available to all of us at My Rotary through rotary.org. It's e-learning courses, it's online training. I'm sure you do them in your 9-to-5 job, whether it's about compliance or your latest insurance benefits. In this case, we have all kinds of topics that you may not even know exists here. It's this treasure chest of information that's all available to you on demand, 24/7, just like you would enjoy just clicking on any of your favorite TV shows or your podcasts whenever you're in the mood or whenever you've got a chunk of 15 minutes of time and you want to enhance your understanding of a topic, then this is a great resource for you that we're happy to introduce you to or reintroduce you to if you haven't been making use of the Learning Center. So we're going to start with just a few bullet points. Okay, this is reasons why this is something we encourage you to use. It can prepare you to do your job better. As we are beginning a new Rotary year, you may be in a new Rotary position, and you may not know everything just yet. So here's an opportunity to prepare you for whatever your new position or committee title is. In your new year, you may come up with a challenge or some questions that you may not immediately know the answers to. If you turn to the Learning Center, the answers will probably be there. You choose the topics and when to learn. So again, it's convenient and it will fit into your busy life. And on average, the courses are about 15 minutes in length. Next slide, please. Now, I know you're all here with an interest in public image. We're very grateful that you have an interest in PI. So the good news is there are plenty of topics that relate to this umbrella of public image, including very important information about the logo and the correct logo to be using. And Hattie's going to talk more about that in a few minutes. Brand basics. We've got promoting Rotary on social media. What do you need to know to have a great website? Those are just some of the public image topics that you'll find. Next slide, at the Learning Center. But to make this even more valuable for you, you'll find a variety of topics that will help you in other aspects of your Rotary life. And why this is important, I mean, yes, it will just, make you a more informed Rotarian, more well-rounded. But if you think about it from the public image perspective, you are an ambassador of Rotary. Really, we all are, whether you're holding a public image title or not. And when you're talking to prospective members or people in the public who don't know much about Rotary, this is an opportunity for you to be able to field their questions, with accuracy and confidence and clarity. You can learn about, some other parts of Rotary that perhaps you don't work in day in and day out, but that will still be relevant and interesting. And again, it just kind of helps inform you about Rotary as the larger organization. And I believe that this will help with your efforts to promote Rotary in your work and other parts of your life. So some topics here. You'll find information about DEI, the Rotary areas of focus, Rotary basics, and also some information about the foundation, which is something that's so promotable. When we start talking about the impact that Rotary is having by way of our foundation work, then that's information that can really help you promote and sell Rotary. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, and as a bonus, since we all have life outside of Rotary, our working life, we have content here that we can access that will help you, whether you're in your day job or if you're on some other committees. How do you give an inspirational speech? What do you need to know about interpersonal communication and networking? Thanks to our collaboration with Toastmasters, there's some really good communications focused topics here, but there's also things about leadership and mentoring and training. So again, different topics that can fit into, and be relevant for many different aspects of your life. Next slide, please. Love Toastmasters. Yes, Kim put in a shout out for the good work that Toastmasters is doing. So before Hattie takes over now talking to you about the Brand Center, I would like to offer you a challenge or a suggestion, and that is that you consider incorporating the Learning Center into one of your club's programs. Consider taking an actual course in 15 minutes time. Not only will you all learn more about the particular topic that you focus on during that meeting, but also your club members will get to see how to navigate it, and they'll see how easy it is and how valuable it is to use the Learning Center through My Rotary. So I will turn it now over to Hattie to talk to us about the Brand Center. Thank you. And my name is Lisa Leonard, by the way, and I will have my contact information in the chat if you would like to do any follow-ups or have any questions. Hattie?
Perfect. Thank you, Lisa. Again, greeting everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us for this session this evening. My name is Hadi Mortada, and I am from the Rotary Club West Ottawa District 7040. Again, many thanks to Lisa for help and doing the presentation just before me. And we are here talking about the Learning Center and the Brand Center. As Lisa mentioned, there are a lot of courses that really help us navigate the Brand Center, and I really do encourage everyone to go on and take those courses. They're beneficial. I have taken some of them, and every time I go in and take something different, I learn something new. So what I'd like to do today is I want to highlight some important items regarding the Brand Center. To ensure that we comply with Rotary International's guidelines, we all received our charters from Rotary Internationals, and we are expected to follow the guidelines that Rotary International sets. In another way, we can treat this as a franchise, really. As a franchisors, we must comply with the franchisee's requirements. So let's just kind of think as a business that we must comply with some regulations that are required by us to do. We are people of action, and our brand is more than just a logo. It represents how people and audience perceive us. We must learn how to use the Rotary Brand Center and the Rotary brand in all of our club's communications. It helps us build awareness about Rotary and, again, our communication. Next slide, please. Our logos. We've seen all kind of logos, and people put them on car wheels and bicycles and you name it. That is not what Rotary International likes us to do. It is a brand name. It's a trademark. We must treat it as such. We must be consistent with using our brand, our master brand. All of this information is available at the Brand Center. It is simple and effective tool that help us to create logos for our events. We can even make business cards on that on the Brand Center. As you see on the graphics here, you see a club name on a way of how to create the master brand around your club name. Same thing for Rotaract, same thing for Interact, our areas of focus. It also indicates the colors that we must use. That's important that we utilize these colors. And on the brand center, you see as the list goes on this slide, there are images, there are voice messages, as I mentioned, area of focus and polio, marks of excellence, you name it, they're all in there. Again, photos and videos are available. As I mentioned, the brand center is a valuable resource filled with current images, videos, and audio clips, showcasing our members as people of action who are making a difference in our communities. It also provides us with up-to-date information on polio, our causes, young leaders, and our history. The good news is we are no longer needed to be logged into the Rotary International website to access these images. Rotary International has made it easier for us that we can just go in there into the website, rotary.org, and do a search to the brand center, and we find the graphics that we need to do. Actually, Rotary has created a link for us to use. And please don't just Google it and grab anything that you see on Google. It may not be the correct logo or the graphic you're looking for. And please use the brand center. Again, there are other tools that we can use. As I mentioned earlier about the colors, we have the indication what color codes in there available to us. We need to stay consistent with using our graphics and colors, logos, images for our websites, on our social media pages, on our events. When we create those posters or banners, you name it, we have to be consistent with all of that. Next slide, please. Why we should use a brand center? It will help us create a powerful message, and compelling messages are important that we can grab the audience who we need. It strengthens our brand and looks professional, and highlights people of action, and yes, that's who we are. We need to create powerful messages. People's perception of Rotary comes from their experiences with our clubs and programs, the stories we tell, and the images we share. Consistent, compelling messages or communications are key to engaging and attracting more participants, donors, and partners. As a team, we need to promote our brand as it is presented in the brand center. Please ensure the current Rotary logos is used across all platforms, including our websites, social media pages, and email signatures. Take a moment to verify that your clubs and districts are compliant. Thank you.
I think Joe is next up for this section, leveraging community connections.
Actually, I'm going to let Dallas handle it, and then she'll pass it over to me.
All right.
Thanks, Amy. You were on top of it. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, welcome everybody. Great job telling us about the brand center. Really appreciate that. It's such a wonderful resource. So now we get to talk about leveraging community connections and what that means. So tonight we're going to cover media connections, talking about how to build relationships and engage with our local leaders in your community, how to be the brand, and understanding your community and that volunteer and member engagement. So Joe, over to you.
Thank you. So my slides are pretty simple. And the one on the left, the icon on the left, you know, I worked more than 30 years in the media. I was a producer. Locally, I did some national work. I worked in radio mostly. I did some television. And my job was to look for stories. I got pitched dozens of stories every week, sometimes dozens every day, especially if it was a Monday. And the question I would always ask myself, why should I care? I have valuable media time. Why should I care about this? You care. I mean, we care as Rotarians. We care till we're killing ourselves. We spend weeks, we spend months, we spend hours on something, and we send out to the media, and we don't get any response because we didn't make them care. And so what you have to do is when you're pitching something to the media, be it radio, be it television, be it a print, which is no longer, but a lot of print outlets, print media have gone to digital. So that there's still some value in that. When you're doing that, you should always put the result first. So it's not, hey, we're having a rib fest and we're going to have, 5,000 people there. We're going to raise all sorts of money. I mean, you could say that, but the thing you have to get right off the top is local charities are going to get $100,000 from this event that we're holding. That means that kids are going to be able to eat. People are going to be able to go to school, all sorts of things. And we're doing that through this event. That's the way you make them care. Another way you make them care is if you have, I know for television especially, they want pictures. TV wants pictures. And when Jennifer Jones was coming through Toronto and I was doing the media for her, one of the things we got was CBC. And the reason we got CBC, yeah, they were interested that she was the first woman ever, blah, 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 but they wanted some pretty pictures. And so we had pretty pictures of, and I know that sounds really cynical, but that's the way the media think. Media, plural, by the way. That's the way the media think. And so they came to we were packing, throwing stuff in bags. Anyway, it was one of these things that people do. I forget the name of it. And they came specifically because we had those pretty pictures. So that's really, really important. Another way you make them care is if you make that personal connection. This is called connections. And if somebody pitched me something and I knew who they were, I was more likely to give them time and to go after their story than if I didn't know them. And if you, very often when you're pitching something, they have to take it to their boss, who is their assignment editor or controls the blog or whatever. And that person will say to you, who is the producer or the reporter, okay, why should I care? And so that's really, really important. Those little 4 words are super important. When I do my own, I do a big concert every year, and it's for food insecurity. And I always make sure the lead line and the title mentions the fact that people are getting together and doing this to feed their hungry neighbors at a time when the need has never been greater. The second half of this is perception is reality. And I know people are going to talk about this later. The perception we have of ourselves is that we are, we like to smile a lot and we like to hug people. Or no, I'm sorry, that's the perception we give a lot of times. The perception we have of ourselves is that we really do stuff. But a lot of stuff that we put that we send to the media or that we put on our own Facebook pages is people who are smiling and hugging. That's great, but it doesn't really portray the image we want. A lot of times, I mean, it's great to have action pictures. That's what we all want. A lot of times those action pictures don't jump out at you, and they don't jump out at the people who you're hoping to meet. So what I like to do is I cover all our club stuff is yeah, sure, I get those, but I also get people taking a pause in what they're doing. It's obvious what they're doing, and they're smiling and they're having fun. And they say, come on in and come and join us. And in the case of the woman doing the food, that was a dinner that I'm sure every club does that. We help out with dinners, and she's wearing a Rotary outfit, and I just caught her and got the picture. The other guys are doing cleanup by a river. And I said, hold up the bag and smile. And so that's what they did, rather than putting a piece of garbage in the bag, which would have been a great action shot, but really would not have been a great piece of photography that jumped out at you. You could do that. So if you can't get a great action shot, do that, because perception is reality. They're doing something and they're having a good time doing it. Next slide, and I'm going to throw it back to Dallas.
So today I get to share with you a little bit to build on that. And what Joe had said is, how do we build relationships and engage with our local leaders as it relates to those community connections? So I have 3 examples here, and all kind of some categories of, it's all stuff from my local club, and I'm the public image person there. So I thought what better way to give you some digital examples of how we do this, but also what this means. So first, with our community leaders, really inviting you to look within Rotary and outside of Rotary. So I would invite you to think about folks who are working for nonprofits and maybe for-profit businesses in your communities to speak at your meetings. Invite them to be at the program. That's going to be a great way to learn more about those folks, what they care about, what their business cares about, and what they're trying to achieve. And perhaps we can even find that common ground and what might overlap with an area of focus within Rotary. And when we do that, we can build our public image. We'll get that kind of mutual beneficial relationship there. Just like this example here, we invited a local entrepreneur. He's actually the owner of the Midland Mall, which I know a local mall, right? We think those are kind of a dying breed. Well, he's actually revitalizing it. And he came to speak to us about, what he's doing, what his plans are. And it was such an engaging meeting. Our room was very full that day. We had to bring in more tables and chairs. It was a wonderful program. And it's someone that maybe hadn't heard of Rotary before and is a great connection point for us to follow back up with him, to invite him to be a guest now, to come in. And again, we're expanding that Rotary's public image by doing stuff like that. Think about too inviting your community leaders to attend as a guest with you. That's another great way if a program isn't going to make sense for some folks. Maybe think about inviting them to coffee or to lunch to share your Rotary story. So those are some great ways you could increase those relationships and those connections. And still talking about Rotary. So be sure to share your story. I think we maybe diminish the power of our own Rotary stories. And I think that's what really draws people in and gets them curious about Rotary and why we've stayed here and what it really means to be a Rotarian. So please do that as a little pro tip. Also thinking outside your club to think about Rotaract and Interact clubs if you have some of those in your community, other clubs you can partner with perhaps. Maybe there's a speaker at a district conference you saw or someone you can partner with there. And even if you have a youth program with a youth exchange, your STEP program or RILA, that might be an opportunity as well. Also with this public image piece too, another pro tip is make sure you tag the individual and their business on your social media if you're talking about the meeting and kind of getting people excited about it and inviting them. We have that you're invited. So that might be another fun thing to do too. So this is kind of all related, right? So we have our community leaders, we have our community events, right? So maybe we'll start to learn from those community leaders what events are taking place in the community, maybe what events need to take place and need to bring some visibility to something. So our events and our service projects help promote our clubs and inspire others to get involved. So when we plan or partner on events that appeal to our community, that we want to address the local needs and encourage the public to participate, just like Joe was saying, that feeding hungry kids, that's a great cause. It completely aligns to Rotary's area of focus. And what better way to do that than to get the community involved and let everybody know that Rotary exists to do this, and we're partnering with so many other great like-minded people in our community. So you can host an event, you can even co-host it with someone else. In this case, in this particular graphic, River Days is actually sponsored by our local community foundation, and it's a free family event accessible to all. And our Midland Rotary clubs have a tent there, and we sell burgers and craft beer and wine. So that's our partnership with them, and all the proceeds are actually donated back to community initiatives. So what's really cool about this too is we've actually invited the radio stations to come out, and we've had our media, local TV media come out. We've given them the why do I care, because we give them the reasons why people should come out because it's so much fun. We give them the reasons why spending their money at the Rotary tent to buy a burger that day and how it's going to benefit the community. So when you do invite the media, to piggyback on what Joe said, have those talking points ready and talk to your local paper, give them a press release, give them some information about what's happening. And what's really cool too is a lot of those folks will share that on their social media pages. So then you can share it too from your page, which is going to just totally increase your analytics. So hopefully I'm not stepping on the toes of our next folks talking here, but another cool thing for your hosting an event or perhaps a service project is be prepared to collect the names of your volunteers if they're not a Rotarian and follow up with them. Thank them for their service and invite them to maybe attend as a guest and invite them to be at an upcoming event or maybe connect with their program. So kind of we're all piggybacking, all this stuff kind of blends together. So, and finally, on our last image here with your network, just want to share and not diminish the value in your network as well. This individual here, my husband and I are both Rotarians in our club, and we co-sponsored this individual. And he was actually a high school classmate of my husband's. And now he's a local entrepreneur, had reached out to him to say, hey, how do I get involved? What's Rotary? Tell me more. I want to be a speaker. So just talking to him more, we learned, he embodies a 4-way test. He makes a great Rotarian. And leveraging your networks, maybe with folks at your work, your church, your gym, your school, amongst your neighbors and friends, can be a great way to build our public image, because then their business shares that they're at Rotary. There's just all these interconnected ways that we work together to not only build our club, retain our members, but to also just build that brand and really expand it broadly so they know that we are people of action and we are service above self first and foremost. So with that, I'm going to kick it back over to Joe and Shania to talk a little bit more about Be the Brand.
I'm the brand now. When I go help out, if I go join another organization, helping out at their event, or if I just go help out at a public event, or if we're doing anything at one of our events and there are lots of people coming, like a Ribfest or something like that, I am the brand. When you go and you take part in other people's events and efforts, you are the brand, and that is really the best way to get one-on-one relationships with people who are possibly going to become Rotarians. When you go help out at a volunteer event somewhere, you're going to be with other people who are predisposed to do volunteer work and maybe want to become Rotarians. So as somebody had talked about earlier, it's a great chance for you to come, for you to be able to make your elevator pitch about Rotary and talk about the projects you're doing. I'm going to throw it to Shania.
Perfect. And just to say, with a bit of what's on the right, being the brand is both physical, right? What people are seeing, what you're wearing, but it's also how you live in your day-to-day. People know you're a Rotarian even when you're outside of that shirt. So I always say, think of it as you're sharing the message of Rotary by just how you're living most of the time. And so if you want to find aligned people, you know, there are a lot of people in Rotary that care about service, but I think if you're living a life of service, you're already actually bringing people back into Rotary because they respect how you do things. So the brand identity is what you're wearing and what you're saying. The brand image is everything else, how you live, the intangibles. So hopefully no one is getting into a fight in the store and people know that Rotarians like to pick fights with strangers. And so, yeah, that's great for the brand bit. Next slide, because I'm also the next section. Great. And just looking at more a bit, you know, internally, our community volunteer and member engagement within Rotary. It is so important to know your customer, whether that's within Rotary or outside, in and out. And that's getting their demographics and their needs. It's good to use local data as well. For some of the clubs, you actually have data that is shared publicly about like what the needs are and what people look like in your community. And there are various methods for understanding your community. So that is, you're looking at polls, surveys, focus groups, any kind of research that you could even create if there is no data, especially, I think is very useful. Sometimes it also helps with prioritizing, oh, which project are we going to do? Because you've actually now gotten that feedback of what's important to your community. And you know, I mentioned, yeah, using the local data to also tailor the program that you're doing. I think this is also good for some of the grants that come out, having that data. And also it's important to engage your volunteers, you know, that you mentioned, like showing volunteer love. Volunteers do a thankless job, and sometimes you spend hours on end doing something. It makes a difference when people are thanking you and recognizing that effort, even if it's just, you know, giving people a piece of paper, a certificate of saying like service excellence, those kinds of things. It makes all the difference. People know. I've spoken in probably hundreds of clubs now, and you know exactly how different each experience is when people sort of respect your time and things like that. And so I think we need to engage members in that way. And that helps us also get new members because people see that, hey, when I work with your club, I have a really good experience and the recognition is always great. And also strategies for involving them in community outreach and public image efforts. You know, we have really amazing people who are the Rotary brand in every way. I mean, Mary Lou Harrison is amazing. She just like gets people in and all of that. Living the values, all of that. That is the 360 of it. So I always say, use Mary Lou as the prototype if she's here. I don't know. And then also recognizing and celebrating not just the contributions of your club, you know, when you're looking at the goals that you have within Rotary, but even celebrating the contributions of individuals within your club as well. That's something that could really help with the retention and growing the membership rate. So gives you lots of ways to leverage. The last I'd say is I do find that even when it comes to things like donations, we underestimate how much power is in our everyday. If people at work haven't been engaged as a potential member or things like that, have those conversations with them. When you're going to the grocery store, there are things you're doing every day that don't have to be work that can really help the public image cause as well. And that's it for me.
Wonderful. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Shana. I really appreciate that. And next, we are going to have Linda, Barbara, and Devankar talk to you about expanding your digital presence.
Hi, I'm Barbara Webb, and I'm with the Sunshine Coast Rotary Club in BC, Canada, in District 5040. And yes, we're going to talk today about expanding your digital presence. Next slide, please. So, what is digital presence? First of all, digital. We thought we'd give you a bit of a definition of what digital presence is. It is what you do with emails, with your website, and on social media, for example, in Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and sometimes LinkedIn. The thing is, you can exist online, you can have every one of those things online, but it doesn't necessarily mean having a presence. So it's important to establish that presence with all of the things that Dallas and Joe and Shania have talked about in their presentation. And thank you very much. You guys are awesome. And yes, we all do care. It's important to be acknowledged with our different creative presence. And so by doing this online, this is one way to spread the word out further than just within your own community. So the way that you do that is you focus on things to do with you, things to do with things that are going on in your district and within your clubs. And the best way to do that is by storytelling. So telling a story is helpful for many reasons. Sorry, I got distracted there a bit. And then it's about taking those stories and putting them online, putting them on your website. And this is, can you please go back to the other slide? Thank you. So the way that you do that is creating traffic online. So you take your stories and you put them on your website, and then you share from your website to those social media sources, because what that happens is the public then clicks on those social media sources and it drives traffic, they call it, to your website. And then hopefully that will make people more curious and want to engage more with your website and see what else is going on. And it's also very important as you load this information on is how the public is perceiving your online Rotary presence. What they're saying about you and how they engage with you is going to be have a lot to do with how much you may have with new membership. So the first thing I mentioned was storytelling. It's about creating visual content similar to what you saw with Joe and Dallas and Shania. It's about maintaining your credibility with that. And it's about your reputation, keeping your reputation in line. So some of the things that you need to establish when you write these stories is the 5 W's, the who, what, where, when, and why. These are the kinds of things that make a meaningful story. And it's also important to make sure that your information is clear. Make sure that your dates are clear, your timelines, your locations, your Zoom links, all of these things need to be clearly put out so that when you send it out to people, whether it's an email or through social media or your website, people have a clear idea of when and where and how you want them to be present. And this gives you a sense of accountability. The other important thing is to make sure that you spread your news with kindness. And these are the kinds of things that make your stories more meaningful that can create more interest? You know, what are the things that makes your club different or your district different? What are the ways that in what ways are you impacting them?
Hello,
So it's
everybody.
about-
My name.
Go
Oh,
ahead,
okay.
Devankar. I'm sorry,
ahead.
I misunderstood. Yeah, go ahead, Devankar. This is Devankar, everybody.
Hello, everybody. My name is Devankar Mukhi. I am coming to you from Detroit, Michigan, Zone 28 Public Image Team Assistant Coordinator for Mary Lou. And as Barbara was finishing and continuing to talk about storytelling, storytelling allows you to not only share who and what your club is doing and who's about your club, but using a digital presence such as website and social media can actually share and expand those stories to a wider reach and a wider audience. So it's really important to be consistent with the brand, but also be consistent with the brand of what your club is about. For example, if you're a club that has been known in the community to do a barbecue every year that's known for it, make sure you capture content of that and post about it, because people have been knowing that you guys have been a part of something like that for years. It's important to broadcast that out to reach on social media. It's really important to illustrate that the content that you're creating, it drives and it also connects with people. So when you create video content, really try to focus in on telling a story. There's an example of a piece that we did to showcase to you how easy it is to grab some club members and ask them one question and be able to record that and put that together using a platform like CapCut. Now, CapCut is an emerging software that's free to use, and many people are using it right now. It is going to be the next big Canva in terms of when you guys hear Rotary talk about, Rotarians talk about, what to use for creating graphic design, artwork, whatever. Of course, everything has to always be brand compliant. Using CapCut is a free-to-use video editing software, and it allows you to generate captions very easily. Very good and necessary for ADA compliance. You can also find many tutorials on YouTube on how to use CapCut to be more useful for your purposes. But here's an example on the left of a video that showcases how easy it is to ask your club members about why they're in Rotary and piece together through Canva. Through CapCut. My apologies.
I'm in Rotary to experience community, connection, and to make a positive impact.
I'm in Rotary to give back to the community in collaboration with passionate individuals.
I'm in Rotary to help people get the food they need at a time when the need has never been greater.
And I'm in Rotary to be a leader, to inspire others, to create hope and peace throughout the world.
I'm in Rotary to expand my horizons, to get to know more people in this community like myself that want to give back, and to make this a better place for all of us, a better world, better Midland.
I'm in Rotary to truly put service above self, and I really like all the connections made in the community.
And the reason why I chose Rotary is for the impact of local, national, and international impact to create hope, to create peace and love around the world.
So as you can see, utilizing something like that and really just taking the time to get to know your club members and allowing them to share why they're in Rotary, how long they've been in Rotary, maybe their favorite moment that they've had in the club, allows you guys to be able to really broadcast that out. This fits very well with advertising for social media, because this then can become an ad for social media if you choose to boost it, if you choose to run an ad campaign. You can use that same piece. And you can also create the same way for event flyers, fundraising events, anything, a service project, a service trip that you guys are going on. That piece can then become an advertisement for advertising Rotary. Really, really hone in on the people of action approach to doing things. So make sure that you have Rotarians, you doing things in service, attending an event, speaking at an event, maybe they're doing things outside of Rotary that they need to be known about. Maybe someone's getting an award for the work that they've done at their job, or someone's getting a community award for service and impact, right? Really, really incorporate elements of that as well, because all of that really does showcase how great our organization is. Barbara, you want to showcase or share this little formula you made? You know this better than me.
Sure, I can. So the idea is that as you share stories onto your website and put them out into social media, people start to read them and they start to read what's important to you. That plus their engagement in it, in things like, you know, they put a heart on it or a happy face or a thumbs up or whatever it is that they do. They might share it out to other sources if they're really interested in that content. The idea is these things equal more curiosity and increases our potential for more membership. What they say about you and how they engage with you is just as important as the information that you're putting out there. So you got to make sure that what you're putting out there has a clarity that is going to reach these people and allow them the opportunity to respond in ways that you would like them to.
Thank you. Thank you to all the presenters and everyone online. Before we open it up for questions, I want to encourage you to take the following actions to enhance your club or district's public image. 1, visit and use the Learning Center and the Brand Center. These resources are packed with valuable tools and materials to help you grow and promote your club effectively. 2, identify and partner with others in your community. Building partnerships can broaden your reach, amplify your efforts, and make a more significant impact in your community. 3, expand your digital presence. Remember that digital engagement goes beyond just existing online or sporadically posting. Develop a strategic approach to connect, engage, and inspire your community online. And we have a bonus action. To enhance your public image efforts, sign up for Laura's monthly public image email by placing your email in the chat. This concise monthly email provides quick public image updates, resources like new content in the Brand Center, graphics for End Polio Now, and information on upcoming learning opportunities. Signing up for this email will make your role as public image chair, team member, or public image enthusiast easier. So it'll provide you with all the tools to expand your reach, share our stories of action and impact. So to sign up, please place your email in the chat. And I'm going to throw it back to Laura for any questions.
Thank you, Amy. I really appreciate it. I see lots and lots of emails in the chat, which is great. We'll capture all of them and add them to our distribution list. As Amy said, we try to keep it short, sweet, concise, and actionable. So you're not reading a lot of stuff. You can just act on some specific activities. In the few minutes that we have remaining, please unmute yourself or put your questions in the chat. We're here to answer your questions.
I just want to call out in the chat. I saw Tim, you posted that there's now a Learning Center on the app. The Learning Center is now available on an app. Have you used it yet? Maybe you could speak to that. That's a great new addition.
Yeah, I just noticed it, I don't know, within the last month or so. So if you go on the Learning Center, it's go.learn, and there's instructions about how to download it and get it synced up. So I just checked it again. I was checking it again during this because I'm like, oh yeah. And I actually did do a course or two, you know, because they're so easy to do and they're very short. And if it says it's going to take you 15 minutes, it's usually 5 or 10. So it's a great way to brush up on stuff you already did. And recently did those Toastmaster courses and were very good about public speaking.
Does anyone use TikTok in a way that you feel that's effective in any way?
That's a really good question. And it goes back to who is your target audience? And the people who use TikTok tend to be very young. So what are you trying to get them to do? And so if you're using TikTok, you have to use that format in a way that will appeal to them and accomplish what your goals are. So if you're trying to recruit Rotaracts, Interacts, and so on, that might be a forum. but it has to be short, sweet, snippy. If you're trying to get people to go to a brew fest or a Veterans Day breakfast or a pancake breakfast, TikTok is not the way to go.
Okay.
Good question.
Everybody's talking about going through the courses and only taking a short period of time. However, I'm one of these guys that dig deep. And if you look on every one of the courses, there's all kinds of links that take you to other places. So if you really want to learn the stuff that they're telling us, you not only have to do the course, but need to look at the links. So I find it takes a lot longer. I've done all of the basics for the president's course because I'm president this year, and I'm 3/4 of the way through the intermediate ones. And the first set of courses, which is 10 courses, it took me 64 hours to go through it because I went and dealt through all the depth. So I want to know, has anybody else done that?
So I will say you can go back into courses too and revisit them. And I have done that as well too, to view those additional resources and also just refresh on the material as well. Laura, go ahead.
I was going to say, I've taken the itty bitty small courses that anyone can take, like about the logo or the brand, and they're like 15 minutes to 30 minutes. If you are a public image chair, then they ask for you to take like 6 or 7 of those courses. So when you put them all together, yeah, it adds up. But if you take them a little bit at a time and you really only focus on the ones that you need to take, then it really isn't a lot of time.
So Laura and team, we have a question from Nancy Peterson in District 6360 said, what about email signatures and the correct logo to use?
Oh, good question. So email signatures are not official. Having said that, in terms of the logo that you should use, it should be your club or your district or your zone logo. So what I mean by that is I represent Zone 32, so I should be using the Zone 32 identifier as part of my Rotary logo. If you are a district, you should be using a district identifier, and they're very simple to create using the brand center. If it's representing only the club, it should be the club identifier. The whole point is that anything that just uses Rotary with the wheel, like you see in the corner. Oops, that way. I'm looking at my, that's the background from Rotary International. That implies it's sponsored by RI out of Evanston. So if you are only using that Rotary with the wheel as part of your promotional materials, it implies that it's something that is being sponsored and run by Evanston and the corporate Rotary, not your club, not your district. So please, please, please make sure you are using the identifier for either your district or your club as appropriate.
I see a hand raised by Kathleen McNulty.
Yes,
Kathleen, you did that awesome video.
Oh, thanks. I have a question about Facebook, and I'm hoping someone here has the expertise. So several clubs, and our district included, have this problem where you have your Facebook account, you've got 1,000 followers, and then the person who owns a Facebook account, because they are all built on a personal Facebook account, leaves the club, there's a falling out. At any rate, you end up losing access to your account or having limited access, or maybe you just can't get to Instagram. You know, there are just different things that happen. Has anybody figured out a way around that? I mean, it does seem like you have to have a person attached.
I can answer that.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Kathleen, what you can do is you can add administrators. If you have a Facebook, you create a Facebook page, and then you can list administrators that have certain rights, and as one leaves, then they can remove them as an administrator, and it just keeps going on like a domino effect. But it's in your settings, and you can go in there, and On mine, we have, I believe, 3 or 4 full administrative editing administrators, and I just removed 2 like last week because they were long gone. So there's an idea for you.
And Kathleen, they have to like the page first in order for you to make them an
Right.
administrator. So that's
Yeah, right. And so there are, we have administrators of the Facebook account, and then the page itself, the business page, is separate. And so you're talking about an administrator for the business page itself or for Facebook.
correct. Yeah.
And then is it built on, Barbara, is it built on your personal Facebook account?
Not on mine, no, it's on somebody else's, and I don't know where it originated, but the originator is, I believe, no longer there. But because the administrators were changed over time, the page never went away. You know, we just changed them as we kind of fold in and fold out.
Yeah, and Kathleen, I'll support that. I changed clubs a couple years ago when I moved, and my previous club still had me as an administrator, and I had set it up, but then I made others also administrators, and now they manage the site.
Okay.
Thank you. Another hand raised by Mike Carrier.
Yeah, just to follow up on the signature question. Thank you so much. I'll change to my club tonight. But I noticed a lot of people also put the current theme logo up, like the Magic of Rotary, and they'll kind of put those side by side in their signature page. Is that authorized or no?
Okay, so the whole point about the theme logo is to motivate internally. So it was something that each president would come up with their specific theme to make Rotarians feel motivated and excited about the year. It was never intended to be a public-facing activity. And because of that, you will not see themes going forward. Now, having said that, there was a lot of pushback. Oh yeah, we'll still do like an internal theme in terms of words as opposed to a look and feel or an image. And so I think the future Rotary presidents will have something that relates to the action plan. But in terms of like the magic of Rotary, you're not going to see like a theme like that going next year.
Thank you.
And the whole reason is it changed every year.
Yeah.
Really confusing if you're trying to brand an organization externally and something changes year after year after year after year. It's hard to say, oh, this is what Rotary stands for. And on top of that, I actually encountered a lot of people saying, oh, I didn't like that theme. I preferred the one from 2 years ago. So that's what we're going to put on our website. And that was not the intent. The intent was to really motivate people that year by the existing president. But good question.
Thanks.
All right, other questions? We're here. Oh, Kathy? Kathy?
Hi, I'm really concerned about the cost of websites because I think you have an awful lot of small clubs that could really benefit from having a website and having one that's connected with the district is nice, but it doesn't give you the visibility and the way to sort of talk about your club that you might like to do. I think Facebook pages are great and Twitter and everything's fine, but you do need that kind of solid thing that is more permanent, that isn't switching up every time you turn around, where you can actually go and find the information you need. And I think in the terms of equity, we should do it so that we all pay a price related to the number of club members we have, so that these big, huge clubs you know, they can afford that, but the little clubs can't. And you're losing clubs because they have no way to promote themselves.
No, I understand. I was from a medium-sized club, and when I moved, I went to a very small club, and we went with Club Runner, which meant expense and trying to set it up. So I understand that whole dilemma. And there are other types of systems. What DBAC, I'm trying to remember the other name of
DB.
Oh,
DAC-DB.
DAC-DB, that's
DB.
it. So DAC-DB, and then you had some people who use WordPress and some people who are using Club Runner. And then how do you plug that in? I do know that that is something that the board of directors have been talking about over the past couple of years. I don't think they have a resolution yet, but they do know that that's an issue. How do we standardize across all of our clubs so that the clubs are not being forced to pay and create something different from something that might be the next one over? And so you bring up a really good issue. It is aware, it is being discussed. We just don't have an answer right now. But you're absolutely right, Kathy, that there are concerns around that. And how do you standardize on it so that all of us look like we're presenting the same organization externally? I think that's the big thing. It's all about branding.
I think this is one of these times that you can use that Rotary Toastmasters Alliance, because we have websites, and we also have our own club website as well as our Toastmasters International website, but our club ones are called Free Toast Host, and they are free, and they have everything that is in a Rotary website too. So like from Club Runners. So I don't understand how a smaller organization, a quarter the size of Rotary International, if not fifth or sixth the size, can give free toast host for the same, and then it's so expensive in Rotary.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah. All right. We are well over an hour now. I want to say thank you. If anybody wants to follow up with additional questions, feel free to reach out to me personally, laura@spear.net. And if you sign up for the monthly newsletter, you're going to find me very, very easily. And not just me, but my assistants as well. And so I thank you all so much for joining us. I see a lot of familiar faces and names, and it's great to see you all. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you found this of value.